Okay, so you might be wondering why I am dressed up as Belle. Because I can. It is Halloween night. I am just hanging out in my room filming YouTube videos. It struck me that I've been procrastinating reviewing a shitload of ARCs that I have just piled on the bottom of my bookshelf. I have 13 books here. One of them's not an ARC, it's a finished copy, but I mean, there's a lot of duds in this pile, I'm not gonna lie. I try not to be negative, but sometimes it is called for. So the first 3 books here, I just couldn't do. Could not do. The first one was really disappointing. Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. So this, it was so hyped. I got this right when it was coming out in the Owl Crate a while back, and I was like, who? Yeah, Vasa in the Night. Everybody loves this. It's kind of like based on Russian folklore. It's like set in Brooklyn. And the main character is Vasa, and I just could not get into this. Like the reviews for it are super bad, and I try not to let other people's reviews change my opinion on things, but no, I just couldn't. It was just kind of like all over the place. It was weird. The pacing was kind of weird. I honestly don't remember a lot that happened in it because it was just like, I was just so not into it. So I'm sorry, Vasa in the Night, but I thought I DNF'd you. I just could not with it. The next one I DNF'd, but it's partially my fault because I hate contemporary and I don't know why I accepted it. But so that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. It's about Eleanor, the main character, and she has mental health issues and she's socially inept and she's just kind of like unusual human being who's floundering through life like a dying seal. And, you know, like, for contemporary, I'm sure it's good, and if you like contemporaries, you might love this book, but I just could not be bothered with this book, and I just, like, I hate when that happens because I don't want to accept ARCs that I don't read, but at the same time, I thought Eleanor it was just like the whole thing was boring. To me, I just like reading it was a chore. Like, I can't really pinpoint one thing that I didn't like about this book. It was just kind of like overall a so that kind of sucks. If you like adult contemporary, or if you want to read adult contemporary about mental illness and socially inept people, I feel you might really like this. It just personally it was not for me. Next here I got a book that I actually read quite a lot. I read 114 pages of it and then I rage quit, and that is The Suffering Tree by Elle Cosimano. So this book was so promising. I'm so freaking riled that this book was terrible because it was terrible. So the main character Tori moves into like this old house that her and her mom are like inherited. They inherit it somehow, and it's like this weird thing. There's like this overarching thing that Tori cuts herself. She self-harms herself a lot, and it's a huge plot point, and it's used as a tool to move the plot forward, but not as like a you probably should go get some help, like this is wrong. But essentially the main character Tori, she summons this cursed guy from the 1700s by cutting herself over this tree, the Suffering Tree, and he comes back and it's just like she uses this cutting as like a bringing the hot guy. Nothing from what I read was it addressed. I spent like on and off a month trying to read this and get through it because it was so promising. It was like creepy small town story about like evil stuff, and it's just like small town secrets and bringing up the past and bringing up like dead people. Like that is what I like to read. So this was so disappointing, but I was just like, I hated how they used the cutting. I thought the main character was also just like not fleshed out at all. The characters were so flat and boring and the plot just went nowhere, and like this pacing was weird. It was like a bunch of stuff happened and then like nothing would happen, and then like some stuff would happen and then nothing would happen again. It was just like rage worthy, and there's no warning on this book anywhere that there's anything to do with the main character self-harming, like nowhere in here. So if I was an at-risk teen or young adult and I picked this book up, that could be like something that really is a negative impact on your life. And I'm not saying don't use self-harm in books, but just the way it has been done in this book, in which it's shown as a positive thing that the main character does that nobody understands, but no one calls her on it. I raise my eyebrow at that. It's used as a tool to move the plot forward, but not in like a, you need to address these psychological issues that you are struggling with so that you can fix this problem. It's just kind of like, if I cut myself, a hot guy comes back to life. Anyway, next year, okay, so now we're getting into the good stuff. So, Hunting Prince Dracula by Kerri Maniscalco. 5 out of 5. I adore this series. This series is just like the cream of the crop when it comes to creepy, weird stuff in YA that isn't actually that scary. So I'm not going to talk about the second book because it's the second book, but the gist, the main character, Audrey Rose, is a baller. She wants to work in forensics, and she's taught on the down low because women aren't people in the 1800s. And so fun. There's banter, there's romance, there's adventure, and there's creepy, morbid things, and Kerri, I would love to meet. Kerri knows so much about forensics, and you can tell by how she writes it. There's fun pictures, fun I say, of just like creepy, gory things in it that are like vintage pictures. I have a review of this whole series coming out, and it should be out soon, and if it's not out already. Next year I have Wonder Woman by Sam Maggs, and I actually read this ages ago, like so long ago, but it's just like this really dope book from Quirk Books about fabulous women in history and just like little blurbs about them. I mean, there's not too much to say, so it's kind of like mixed in like women spies, women scientists, Ada Lovelace. I'm a huge fan of Ada Lovelace. So next here we have Mind Blown by Matthew Santoro. It's just like a fact book similar to Wonder Woman in that it's just kind of like random little factoids about things. So Matthew Santoro does this sort of stuff on YouTube. He makes like fact videos or like list videos. So this book is just kind of like an extension of that. Everything has citations, so you know it's not just like a pile of steaming bull crap, which is nice. And it's just like really jumping all over the place in terms of what the content is. In this book, it's like reviews for most brutal prisons on Earth, or apples. Let's learn about apples. Learn about moving in ancient Egypt. But yeah, so it's just kind of like a book about facts. Stuff happens. I liked it. Would I read it again? I mean, I might flip through it again, but I'm probably just gonna get rid of this book just because I don't personally need to keep it. But I thought it was good. It was just like fast facts about random little things. Next year we have The Girls by Emma Cline, and I read this whole book and it was meh for me. I would give it like 2.5, 3. I went into it with really high expectations, which might have been the problem, but it's about a lady. It's like a flashback story, so we have the current version of the lady, and we have the lady in the 70s when she was a teenager, and she gets like recruited into this cult very similar to the Manson cult, and they commit murders, but she doesn't, and it's just like her going back and forth of her current life and her past life. I thought it was interesting. Like, I really like morbid, dark things like cults, right up my alley, but the ending, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was just kind of like, and then that happened, and then nothing ever. It just ended like randomly in the middle. Like, nothing really happened. It was just this lady musing about her life and being like, yep, well that happened, and then it's done. It's like, oh, okay, like, sure. I know some people love this book and they love those kind of like people musing about their lives and they had interesting lives and that kind of stuff, but I just could not. Like, I got into it, but the ending just like soured me on it because I was just kind of like expecting there to be something, and then it was just like, and then that happened. Next here we have The Wood by Chelsea Bobolsky, and this one I liked. It's a YA book about this girl who is a guardian of the wood, and this wood is this magical woods outside of her house. Her dad used to be the guardian, but then he went missing. Is he dead? Is he not? We don't know, but he's been gone, and so now she's in charge of keeping it in line. And essentially this wood, it's like a time portal as well as like a portal to other worlds. She has to patrol it to make sure like someone from feudal Japan doesn't accidentally come in, and then she like sends them back where they came from and they don't remember what happened. Something happens and she's like, maybe my dad dying wasn't an accident. And then she goes on this big adventure with some guy that accidentally slips through, well, not accidentally, he on purpose tried to slip into the woods, and so she kind of like teams up with this guy and they go on an adventure. Henry is the guy that comes out through the wood, through the time portal thing, and he's like from Victorian England, and he's just like gobsmacked by everything, and I love time travel stories with like people from the past coming to the future. It's just like, wow, you have a zipper? Whew. that's good. I liked this book a lot more than I thought I was going to, because it's just kind of like this weird little story. You know, I'm not sure if this is going to be a series or not, but I wish it is because I thought it was really interesting and I would definitely recommend this book. I give this book like a 4 out of 5. Like, I just thought it was, as soon as I started reading it, I was just like hooked and it was like, wow. But yeah, it's just kind of like got monsters attacking and espionage sort of like in this group of people that are in charge of keeping the woods safe, because there's a bunch of them everywhere that are all connected. I thought it was an original concept and I'm all about it. And next here we have Forever Dune by Carrie Corp and Lori Langdon. And this is the last book in the Dune series, and I'm a fan of the Dune series in like a cringy kind of way, because I feel that these books, they're so lame. They're based on a musical called Brigadoon, but this magical land called Brigadoon that only appears like once a year, I think it is. And this is a YA version where two friends visit a family house in Scotland and they find Brigadoon and they like go over there and have an adventure and fall in love, and there's like all this political strife because it's like, ah. So we have Veronica, V, and McKenna, and they're like the best friends. They meet these princes of Dune and they like fall in love, and this is like the tying up of the 4 books. I will probably be buying a hardcover edition, so I'm gonna get rid of this, but I liked it because I like, logically this series is just like a young series. It's written young, it's very like whimsical and happy and like happy ending-ish. It's like a princess story and I have such a soft spot in my heart for it, and like logically I know that this is not the highest form of literature that there will ever be, but at the same time I can appreciate it for what it is because I love Brigadoon as a movie. If you haven't watched it, I would recommend watching it because it's really fun. And the book, it's just like if you like princess stories set in Scotland and it's like traveling into a magical realm from the real world and escaping the grossness of the real world, then I would recommend this one. And I think I gave this like a 4.5 out of 5 just because it was just like a good ending. I liked it. So yeah. So next here we have The Cabin by Natasha Preston, and I liked this. So this is like a YA thriller. This book is weird. I liked it and it was entertaining, but it just like took some twists that I didn't expect it to. Obviously it's a thriller, I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you're looking for a thriller, I mean, this is kind of a fun one. So this group of teens go to one of their friends' cabins for a party weekend, and while they're there, murders are afoot. Some of them get murdered. And then it's like, well, who murdered them? Was it someone in the house? Was it someone outside the house? How did nobody hear it? If 2 of your friends are getting violently stabbed downstairs in the kitchen while you guys are all asleep upstairs, wouldn't you be woken by bloodthirsty screams? I don't know. Thrillers, they're so hit and miss. Like, I feel that they're very personal things. Like, if you like thrillers, you like thrillers, and I think you'd like this. But it's just kind of like a wild ride of who done it, and I liked it. Natasha Preston does a lot of YA thrillers, and I always like her books. Like, on the back here it has The Cellar, which I've read and I liked. It was like about this creepy guy that like keeps girls in his basement or in his cellar, and he names them after flowers. But it's just like her as an author, I jive with it, and so I like overall liked this book. I know thrillers tend to fall in like the 3.5 range for me, just because like it's not my absolute favorite genre to read, but I mean if you like thrillers, I think you would like this. Next here we have Missing by Kelly Armstrong, and this is a weird one. I liked it and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but it's so weird. So essentially in a small town, every year a bunch of kids seem to go missing, but it's a shitty small town so everyone assumes they run away. But what if it was murder? The main character's name is Winter, which is kind of lame. She lives kind of in this weird shack in the woods because her dad's abusive. She's living there until she graduates high school so that she can leave on a scholarship, but then one night she finds this beat up dude running for his life, and he's like, no, they're gonna kill you if you save me. She's like, fuck that. So she saves him, and then she gets pulled into this weird thing, and she has this injured guy, and she kind of like helps him get better, and then one day she comes back and he's missing, and it's like this big, where did this guy go? When Lennon, the hurt guy, vanishes, his brother Jude comes to find him, and he thinks that Winter has killed his brother. They kind of team up as this untimely duo to try and figure out what is going on, where are the kids going, where did Lennon go, and all these questions. And it's like a little spooky, a little weird, a little supernatural sprinkled in there, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I thought it was really interesting. Definitely kind of like an autumn, kind of weird, creepy, something's in the forest out to kill you sort of thing, and I thought it was very entertaining, and I read it it and I liked it and I read it really quickly, so yeah. Next here we have Towards a Secret Sky by Heather McLean. This book, it's along the same line of Dune, that it's objectively terrible but entertaining enough. So I read this book so fast. It was like one of those guilty pleasure reads for me. So the main character, Marin, her parents die. She's an orphan, and so she's sent to distant relatives in Scotland. When she gets there, she inherits this encrypted journal, and it makes her a target for something, but she doesn't know what. She like is in this very small town in Scotland, and she's like the odd one out, and it's like, ooh, everyone's all weird. And then a bunch of people start dying, and it's kind of like, well, that's weird. Huh, people are dying. Then, like, is a supernatural, paranormal romance, and so there's like this weird race of angels that like protect the area against demons, and she like falls in love with one of the angels, but she can't because it's a forbidden love, and it's just like so cheesy, but it's like entertaining. So like, I liked this book, and I know I shouldn't, but I did. If there's a sequel, I will read it. Like, the cover is atrocious. I mean, it's lame, but at the same time, I really liked it. But it's just like angels and demons, and it's like in Scotland, and I don't know, it's quaint, it's fun, I don't know. Alright, okay, last arc, holy crap. So, next here we have The Wish Granter by CJ Redwine, and I really, really liked this book. Sorry, there's like dust on it. I've had these books for a while. This is the second book in a series, but you don't have to read the first one, and I didn't. So going into it, this is the second book. It is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, where we have a bunch of like different characters all connected with this character Teague, who is Rumpelstiltskin, and so he lends out promises to people and manipulates people to get what he wants, and the whole story is about the people who he's manipulating trying to fight back and win their lives and their freedom. And I loved this book. Like, I thought it was so good. Like, I haven't read a lot of fantasy for the past little while, but this one, I thought it was so much fun. I thought it was so good. Like, 4.5 out of 5. And it's just kind of like all the characters making different deals, trying to like go through their previous deals and like other people's deals. And it's just like, want to make a deal? Probably shouldn't. I don't know. It's like, I thought this was so good, and I definitely want to get like a finished copy because I liked it. And I'll probably read the first book in the series because it's like all these different fairy tale retellings. I thought this was such an interesting take on Rumpelstiltskin. Like, it felt like an original new world. It wasn't boring and like lame. Like, I forgot it was a Rumpelstiltskin retelling until the very end. I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna get out of this? And I was like, wait. This is the Rumpelstiltskin retelling. They'll find out his name is Rumpelstiltskin. So I mean, that's how the story goes, but I mean, that's not how it ends, but like, that is a part of what happens in the end. But yeah, so I liked it. But yeah. So now my pile is depleted. I'll have to refill my arc pile with the other arcs that I have to read. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any thoughts on any of the books that I talked about. Let me know if you like this style of book review where I'm just like doing a bunch of them all together versus one dedicated video for it, because there's no way I would have made 13 dedicated videos for these different books. So I kind of like this compilation style, but let me know what you guys think. I will take any and all suggestions for how to give my reviews to use. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching my video. My name is Sarah, and I'll see you guys soon with another video.